Okay, so it's thundering and we're going to record our show anyway. Good luck editing, Mike.
I won't edit thunder out if it's thundering.
First lightning, then the thunder.
That invites them into our living room.
There's lightning.
I don't know why anyone would want to be in our living room. Anyway.
Then the thunder.
Because you're always in the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's only because no one is in the living room ever.
Yeah. Well, I have a room with TV and cable box and an
Xbox,
Apple TV and all that stuff, and I don't want to sit out in the living room and have to agree with someone on what we watch.
Yeah.
I want to go watch whatever I want to watch and not have to talk to people about it.
I don't know. I don't have anything funny to say. I don't know what to talk about or what to say. Why don't we just start the show and just say, screw it.
I don't want to start the show. I don't want to start the show. I want to eat something.
Yeah, well, why don't you?
I don't have anything here to eat.
What do you mean?
I have to spend an hour cooking. I don't want to spend an hour cooking. I don't want chips. Chips, by the way, are noisy, and we can't record the show while I eat the chips.
Okay,
so,
come on. There's trail mix.
Is there? Where's trail mix? I don't want any trail mix. I don't want any trail mix. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to do this and get it over with.
Okay.
Because I've already spent all day yesterday and all day today with you, and now I have to make a show with you, and then I have to spend an hour editing the show that I did with you. I'm ready to not be around you.
Okay, so...
Isn't that funny, Brad?
I don't know what's funny anymore. Okay? Here's the thing. Yes, was it yesterday? I mean, we've been trying to go to movies. We've been just thwarted the past few days.
Thwarted. Actually, however, we did see 4 feature-length movies in the past 3 days. So we haven't been thwarted too bad.
One, I don't want to say 2 of them were terrible, but one was terrible, and the other was, it was a little bit of torture. It was not good.
I don't even remember the movie we saw on Friday.
So we tried to see The Nun for 2 days.
Hold on, what was the movie we saw on Friday?
We saw Peppermint.
Oh, Peppermint, right. Yeah. Have you noticed I keep trying to forget that? Like, I can't, yeah.
Because it wasn't, just throw it in there, quick review. Peppermint, it's not good. Watch it for free later when it's on something you're already paying for.
We're at the part of the year. We are at the part of the year where the good summer blockbuster movies have come out.
Yeah.
And it's almost award season, so the more thoughtful, indie, quieter, little off-the-beaten-path type movies are starting to come out. But there's always like a window in between when the last real summer blockbuster and the first good award season movie comes out, where it's a wasteland.
Bunch of shitty movies.
Yeah. So
which is always seen.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get fussy about it. So here's the deal. Like, the past handful of movies that we've seen, I really don't even want to talk about because I don't even hate them. They're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that happened. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like when we saw Jurassic World or The Meg, and it was like, this movie pisses me off, it's so bad.
Right.
These movies aren't bad, but they're not great. They're just disappointing or mediocre.
Yeah.
And so...
Or what happened? How come... Is it because our theater was under construction that all summer we didn't have to deal with, can I call them riffraff?
What the hell is riffraff?
It's just, we decided to see The Nun, and all of a sudden all of the obnoxious people got together and did a high five and said, let's go to this movie and fuck it up.
I think what happened is I talked to the theater guy when we were walking out of there, and the guy said, yeah, anytime a movie like The Nun comes out, which is like, I guess like I don't know if it's PG-13 or R, but anyway.
Horror, I'm guessing.
Like a low-hanging fruit horror movie.
Yeah.
The teenagers come out in drones, and the opening night or two is just whatever.
I feel like we didn't get the memo. Like, everyone else in the audience were like, yeah, we got the memo.
Yeah, the memo to be totally loud and obnoxious.
Do whatever you want, say whatever you want.
So, yeah, we walked into the theater, and first of all, we were the showtime before ours was sold out, so we didn't get to go to that. So we ended up being like an hour early to the theater because we're waiting on the next.
My fault, right? Because we showed up, we probably could have gotten seats.
Yeah.
But I said, no, let's go to Walgreens and sneak in some snacks. So it's my fault that we had to go
I guarantee you that theater would have been crowded. It was sold out, so I can only imagine it's sold out from teenagers. But then we're sitting there, so we're there an hour early, and we're sitting there, and it's like not crowded. Then, like, as the trailers start,
the chaos
ensues, and hundreds. I think it was 250 people fit in that theater, or 200 people. Anyway,
and there's a lot of people that snuck in. Because we're in assigned seating. So people were buying seats and couldn't get to their seat because there were people there.
And they were sitting in the laps of people and sitting on the floor trying to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got all of these. It was almost like one of those, when there's like protests and, the cops are trying to be peaceful and whatever and help. It's all around. When you walked out, like I walked outside to go to the bathroom and like all the managers in the entire movie are right there. And there's like 3 different piles of managers and people who are like complaining about whatever, and it's just like all this chaos in this one movie.
We're sitting there, and so I teach high school, and oftentimes if I'm not yelling at people to shut up, what happens is the louder I play the video, the louder they talk in the class and to ignore. So it's just a level of white noise that keeps rising and rising and rising. So they were talking the whole time. I don't know why okay, so they're teenagers. They're not made of money. It's $10 to get into this movie theater. It's like $8 or $9 for a ticket. They've paid $8 to get into the movie theater and not watch it. They're just loud. And the guy that was sitting
having conversations that almost don't have anything to do with the movie.
The guy sitting right next to me was talking like we're talking now as the movie's playing. Yeah, I saw this scene. This one. Oh, he's going to go in there like that. Oh, shit. No, you don't do that. And then she would go, what's happening? The girl that was sitting right next to her. What's happening? And I'm sitting there thinking, well, if your boyfriend would shut the fuck up, you might be able to tell what's happening. And the people next to you were chattering, but not nearly as much as the guy next to me.
They were more appropriate. They were just reacting to the movie.
Yeah. The sort of thing that you want to happen when you see a crowded theater. Okay, so then the security guy came in.
Oh, yeah, he starts having a conversation.
And he's having a full-on conversation. I get that he's doing his job, but it's not the theater's fault. I get that he's doing his job. However, he's doing his job at full volume, standing right next to us in our aisle, trying to get the person who's sitting in someone's lap in a seat to go out. Like, can I see your ticket, ma'am? Let me see your ticket. Yeah. The movie's been on for 10 minutes. He's standing there talking at full volume. Yeah. I heard 0 words of the movie for the first 10 minutes. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm leaving.
Which you never do. I didn't think you were going to leave. But here's a weird thing. Even when there were moments of what I thought were quiet, where it didn't seem like people were talking, but still there was such a level, there was a certain decibel level to where I still couldn't understand people were talking on the screen, and I'm not able to make out words, and I'm like, what?
I comprehended 0 things. That happened in the
I
first
guess
10
they were
minutes
everyone was talking, trying to be quiet, but it amplified.
Yeah.
And just had this, you couldn't hear anything.
So it's annoying. I mean, I'm very anal retentive about like movies. I won't walk into a movie after it's started.
And you won't leave a movie.
And I won't leave a movie even if I hate it, because I want to see the whole thing. Even if I hate it. Yeah. Even if it's totally a shitty movie, I want to sit there and be pissed at this movie the whole time. So my opinion is justified. I've seen the whole thing and I know exactly what to say about it. You walk out of a quiet place, and complained about things that happened before you left that were resolved after you left, but you didn't know because you quit.
They were not.
You quit
resolved.
the movie.
Not adequately.
Anyway, so yeah, but I was like, I can't. If it was the movie that was bad, I would sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the movie that was bad. I don't know if the movie's good or not. I couldn't tell what was happening because just the noise. And the noise in the 2 seats next to us was so what's the word? It's like so hard to deal with. I remember I walked out of the theater and said to you said like the entourage of managers that was standing there just waiting for the next, they were pulling teenagers out.
Like 6 people.
And I just looked at because I'd spoken to the manager earlier about a Movieisms thing, and I talked to the lady, and I just looked at her and I said, it's pointless trying to watch this movie. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And I tried to tell him, it's not your fault. You have to sell tickets to people who come in. It's, you are the captive audience in this situation.
Here's the thing. I think the problems they were having were with the people that snuck in. So many people snuck in.
Yeah.
They did not pay for their seat, and they were trying to... Which, by the way, I'm starting to appreciate the assigned seatings. Because now I see that the theater that we go to that has a history of riffraff.
You sound like an old person every time.
I know.
the rabble-rousers.
But now I see, okay, our theater is trying to do something about these guys.
Yeah.
Now that there's assigned seating, and, so I'm okay with what happened that night because I feel like we're taking a stand, that movie theater and the managers, and we're all saying, no, you can't just come in and screw with the movie. I'm sure they'll try a few more times, but I think they're all going to get the message. You need to pay and then go. And maybe that's why they're already in the mode for being rambunctious. I'm using all these fucking old man words. Because they didn't pay, so they feel like, I didn't have to pay for it, so I don't, I'm not going to, who cares? And even the movie we went to, by the way, I think we ended up waiting for 3 hours because the first movie we couldn't go to.
The next movie
the second
was
movie
30 minutes later.
The Nun we couldn't watch, and so we ended up having to wait. And then there were still teenagers, like 5 people, that snuck in after it started, and then decided they sort of didn't like it or something, and then left halfway through.
What was the noise that guy was making? He was back there going, "Huh!" Huh! What was he doing?
I don't know.
I thought, if that kid's back there getting an HJ.
Oh my God.
Huh!
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh. Man.
But when we left that theater, we had been in the movie theater for The Nun. The movie which
like half the night.
The movie that you should be getting a review of right now is The Nun. We were in there a little bit before the trailers, then the 30-something minutes of trailers, and then 10 or 15 minutes of the movie. So that's safe to say 30 or 45 minutes later when we walked out of there, every manager that I passed, like you can see it, we're at AMC, so they're all in the black all of them have teenagers pulled off to the side talking to them. And the teenagers are being so like, mouthy to the you're busted. They're calling, just show them your ticket. They're like, why do I have to show you my ticket? Well, because I don't think you paid for a ticket. Yeah, but why do I have to show? Well, how come you don't have to show him your ticket? And I'm walking by going, I'll show you my ticket. They're just yelling. You got caught. Buy a ticket or get the fuck out. You're messing with people's night here. What's
funny is I was when we first got in, before we even sat down to the movie, I went to the bathroom for the first one, and as I'm walking by, there's one AMC person with 4 people, and it looked like he was not frisking them, but he was definitely they're going through their purses and whatever. I could see he's trying to shake them down to see if they have tickets. This is another group of people.
I do the same thing with my students. They tell me I did that assignment, and I teach TV productions, which means people shoot things, they put it in the computer, and they edit things, and then they put it into a folder on the desktop, and that's where I go to check to make sure they did it. They're always like, "I did it, Beckemeyer," and I'm like, "Well, it's not in the folder. I turned it in." "Well, show me where it is." And they're like, "Oh, well, I don't remember what computer I did it on." Well, and I say, "Well, how am I supposed to find it?"
Right.
And then a day later, somebody comes up with a video that I've seen from 6 months ago that somebody else did, that they've changed the name on and put it in the folder. Becca, it's right here. I told you it was right here the whole time. And I had another kid swear to me that he took the final exam, and I got emails from him 3 or 4 times over the summer from his dad. "Can I please talk to you? My son's saying you did it. You gave him a 0." And he came in on the first day of school, digging around in the computers looking for it, and said, "Oh, well, maybe I didn't do it." I'm like, "Well, tell your dad that he's been calling and yelling at me all summer because you lied to him about and they just, up until the point where there is no other way out of it, will maintain that they're telling you the truth, and then like, "Oh yeah, well, maybe I didn't do it." Then you're like, "Yeah, well, you wasted so much of my time." And my daughter is 15, so I am under no illusions. I know that there are things teenagers don't tell us. I get that. My daughter, however, did not properly prepare me to be around teenagers, because my kid is she's a good kid. She's like, she doesn't like to lie. She's like, "I'm a bad liar." You know that. And I know it because I also am not the greatest liar. You can tell on my face what my real feelings about something. It's like, right. And I don't like, anyway. So my kid, but when I showed up and had to deal with like 130 kids every day, I wasn't prepared for that, because they're, a decent portion of them are just kind of assholes. They're just teenagers, and that's what teenagers do, because they haven't had the shit kicked out of them by the school of hard knocks yet, and they just think, "Oh, well, the internet, so I can be an asshole, right?"
Yeah, I think that they almost feel like, why do I even need school? I could just Google whatever I need whenever I need it. Why am I here?
That is actually the truth. Yeah, they do think that.
I have Wikipedia. Yeah. If I need to do math, I can Google math.
I got
2 + 2.
I got a calculator right in my phone that does more complicated math than the first space shuttle.
You could just say, "Hey Siri, what's the square root of 24?" Blah, blah, blah. Okay, done.
Hold on just a second. "Hey Siri, what's the square root of 24?
The square root of 24 is approximately 4.89898.
Yeah.
Thanks.
See?
Yeah, see?
You don't need to go to school.
You don't need to go to school. Siri's pretty fucking smart.
Hey, there's a movie idea right there, or what's that show, Mirror? Is it not Broken Mirror?
Black Mirror?
Black Mirror. Mm-hmm. That's a Black Mirror episode where in the future we all just followed like Donald Trump. Maybe Donald Trump's sons became the next presidents, and we don't
even put that out into the universe.
And
you're trying to piss me off.
It was just declared that we didn't need school because Siri could just do everything. Yeah. And then there's EMP, nuclear bomb thing, whatever, and no more Siri, and nobody knows shit. We can't build houses or do electricity or get water or nothing. Just fucking 1 week. Mankind has 1 week to live.
The thing is, that could be a comedy, or that could be like a horror movie.
What's fire?
What's fire? Everybody walking around with their phones, flipping the fake lighter app open,
right?
Trying to strike it, like
it's not lighting. Holding the phone to the wood. Yeah, that's it's sad, but possibly could happen.
Anyway, since we didn't get to see Ken,
The Nun, you mean?
Or The Nun, we saw Ken. Yeah. Which is a movie I would not have seen. If I wasn't already at the movie theater with my drink and my snack, and I'm sitting there I'm just trying to see a movie.
Also, at some point, you're just like, I don't give a fuck what's going on or what these people are doing. I am not leaving here until I see a fucking movie.
these teenagers are not going to win.
Right.
I'm going to persevere. And we walked into that movie. We sat in there. It was like, 50 seats in this theater? It's so small. Yeah. And there was a guy next to me and like 4 people in the back. The guy who was...
I remember we sat down and we looked at each other and said, this isn't going to be good. But we're going to watch it.
This isn't going to be good. And here's the thing. It's not a bad movie. No,
it's better than, I think, the reviews, what I've been hearing online.
The problem with it is so this kid, who...
Talking about the Ken.
Yeah, who is a black kid living with a white family. Was he adopted? I didn't understand.
I think so, like his parents. Mom. His mom was black. I think he's interracial.
Okay. So maybe...
his mom died.
Maybe they adopted. Anyway, he was not related to them by blood.
Something like that.
Yeah, he and the wife adopted the kid.
Okay, maybe that's what happened.
Like a foster parent.
But she
situation.
Died.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Right. So,
I just want to also say, if you don't know about the Ken or haven't seen the trailer makes you think it's all about...
Science fiction, a
kid
gun.
Finds a gun, and the whole movie is about him and the gun, and that's not what it's... like at all.
Yeah. So the movie is, there's this kid, he is walking along and he sees and hears some laser blasting, and he looks up to see what it is. He's stumbling around and looking for the thing.
He's walking around looking for metal to sell.
Right, to scrap metal.
Abandoned buildings and places people haven't been.
It's his way of raising money,
right.
Making money. So, but he stumbles across this device, which is in the trailer. So he finds this thing that ends up being a space gun, basically, like a laser gun. But we don't know where it is or what it's from,
or why those aliens are there, why they're fighting.
And it turns out that nobody can use the gun except for him. And we think we think maybe it's because he's the first one to pick it up and he imprinted on it with his thumb or something. Anyway, but you think that that's what the movie's going to be about because what the trailer said. The trailer's a lie because the trailer knew that the rest of the movie was kind of slow and not boring, but it was just slow paced. It's like you said, it's a road trip movie. Where the scenes was probably too many scenes of them riding around and talking about stuff.
But I feel like if you go to the movie aware that it's a road trip movie, not expecting that it's a laser gun thing or whatever, then you're okay. And I think that's why it got so many bad reviews and people were upset because they went in thinking it was going to be something else and ended up with a road trip movie.
Right.
But you and I went in knowing it's a road trip and it wasn't
bad at all.
Bad.
I will say that the last 10 minutes of the movie is where the movie gets great.
Yeah.
That whole thing that happens because of all the stuff that's happened leading up to that. The resolution of the movie answers a bunch of questions, but also poses a lot more questions that even though you've sat through this hour and a half long kind of slow burn road trip movie, you're thinking, well, now I want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
I want to see a sequel.
That is true.
Because I think the first movie, the origin story, set up something that could be very, very interesting in a sequel.
Yeah, I think that would be a very interesting sequel. And they could do it
or a TV show. That could be a great TV show. That could be a great TV show. The movie is, first of all, the movie Ken is based on a short film that was written and directed by Jonathan and Josh Baker.
Do they have some of the same people from the short film in it?
I don't know about the short film. I do know that it's written by the same people who wrote and directed this movie Ken.
Do you know whether or not because sometimes people do the short film so they can show proof of concept.
I'm sure it was proof of concept.
Okay.
And I tell you this, I know the part of the movie that the short film was based on, even though I haven't seen the short film.
End?
This is the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Because that part was the part that would make me want to make that movie.
Right.
And then they made the rest of it that was not bad, just okay.
It
was
sense.
interesting. It wasn't bad. It was good character development, but not enough happened for the first hour and 20 minutes of the movie. Almost to make it worth.
Even though they got a hooker, I mean, they went to a strip club and got a hooker. I mean,
that wasn't a hooker.
Come on.
You're talking about Zoe Kravitz?
Yeah, but strippers. I mean, not all strippers are hookers. But
right.
If you got enough money,
yeah, but
you can.
They didn't hire her as a hooker. She left that place with them.
Right, but
without
I'm
being
saying
paid.
they picked it. They got a. That's kind of interesting. But by the way, PG is a PG strip club and PG strippers.
Yeah, PG-13. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
it worth having a strip club if they're just walking around in bathing suits and not really doing anything? I don't know.
I didn't really think about it until you mentioned it.
Did you see that wad of cash that kid gave her? Like a big... I said, no! Don't give one stripper all that money.
He's like a 14, 15-year-old kid?
Yeah,
I mean...
It's a big wad of money.
That kid doesn't know how it's done, and he's just trying to make sure she likes him,
It was funny. He's sitting there telling her his problems.
Anyway, it's got Miles Truitt, who I don't remember if I've ever seen him in anything. Jack Raynor.
I don't know who that is.
Dennis Quaid plays the kid's dad.
And the best actor in the movie.
However, Zoe Kravitz is always
she
good.
Was good.
And James Franco was good.
Yes.
James Franco is good.
What did you think about him peeing in the convenience store?
I thought it was funny. It's like, I own
like, where's
this
your
place.
bathroom? And the guy's like, you have to buy something. And he just pulls it out.
Starts pissing.
Pulls out his gun, sets it on the counter and says, okay, if I can't pee in your bathroom.
Then his friend walks out and goes, be careful, it's slippery right there. Something like that, which I thought was funny. So the movie is a slow burn. It asks a lot of questions right in the last few minutes that make you want to kind of see what happens next. And really, in a way, it does make it worth sitting through the other parts, which, again, are not bad, but are harder because it's more character study stuff. It's more like this guy and this. I just think the characters weren't quite deep enough to warrant an hour of them driving around talking about their feelings and stuff.
It seemed like it was 20-25 minutes too long.
Yeah.
But it was pretty well paced.
Yeah.
There weren't many moments where I was like, oh, come on.
The best scenes are with Zoe Kravitz and the kid.
Yeah. The
best scenes where you felt like a real affection towards each other in that scene, and not like a sexual, almost like a big sister, little brother affection towards each other.
Yeah.
She was, trying to, get him to open up and relax and stuff like that.
I feel like that's part of the reason why she joined them, because she saw that the kid's brother was just completely irresponsible, not in control of the situation at all.
Yeah.
And the kid had this huge, dangerous gun. I feel like she's thinking, I've got to go handle this.
Everything bad that happened to them on this road trip happened because the brother's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of bad things.
Even though I do think the brother was well-intentioned, he just is one of those guys that just makes bad choices.
And I want to say, we're not talking about Peppermint, and we're just saying, listen, just don't go see it because it's bad. And one of the reasons it's bad is because now when we saw Ken, the things that happened to propel the action and get the story going
made sense.
It made way more sense than the what happened in Peppermint. And I remember saying to you, why couldn't this have been how Peppermint started? Because Peppermint, the way, the reasons why the people got shot, or her family got shot, and she went all vengeful, it really didn't, it just didn't make sense. It wasn't logical. And then we're watching this movie, and basically, the brother gets caught in a situation, and then, it just escalates and gets out of control really quick. Yeah. And that made more sense.
Makes more sense.
And so I think that's why we appreciated this movie a little better.
I will say that Jennifer, we're talking about Peppermint just for a second. Jennifer Garner is good in the movie. Yeah. It's fun watching her do the kick-ass thing, but there wasn't nearly enough of it. in Peppermint, there's a lot of like shooting them in the head shots that are cool to see. But once you've seen a couple of them, you're like, oh, can she only shoot people in the face? You know,
the story wasn't told well. I don't know if it was bad editing.
The story was out of whack. Things happened that didn't make sense.
I feel like they should have told it in reverse.
I think if they want to see a woman on a rampage, they need to watch Atomic Blonde and see how it's done right. Because Atomic Blonde is kick-ass. Start to finish.
All right. So, word of warning, it's not Alias the movie like I thought it would be. It's just,
My favorite thing that we got out of the movies this weekend is in the 2 nights we saw a movie on Friday night, and then we saw a movie on Saturday night. There were, in the last 2 trips to the movies, we saw 3 completely different A Star Is Born trailers.
It just made us want to see it more.
The movie, I tell you, the marketing on this movie is brilliant. In fact, they even, in one sitting, they played A Star Is Born trailer at the very beginning, and then in the middle of the trailers, they played another Star Is Born trailer that was different from the other one.
Yeah.
It was like an A-side of the conversation, and then when they played the trailer again, it was the B-side of that same conversation, so you got a feeling of the scene itself with some snippets from the movie. I honestly, I got to tell you, man, I have never seen any of that movie. I looked it up. That movie's been made 3 previous times.
Wow.
It's like a classic Hollywood movie through generations. I've never seen any of the others because way back when I first heard about it, it was always Barbra Streisand. And when I was younger, I wasn't a huge fan of Barbra Streisand, and I'm straight, so I don't really like Barbra Streisand the way some people do.
It's funny because the scenes we saw, Lady Gaga's character was focusing on her nose.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Barbra Streisand, she has a nose too.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I thought this was an original
Yes,
story.
Barbra Streisand has a nose.
I remember telling you, I was like, this is like a biopic. I was telling you that
Biopic? Biopic.
I thought that biographical, autobiographical.
Yeah.
I thought that Lady Gaga was putting some of her own personal story in this movie, and then you told me, oh no, this is a story that's been told before.
Yeah. However,
but her story seems similar to the character.
I read an article where she was just before we came in to record. I was reading an article where she said that it's not as if she never heard that stuff. They loved the way she sounded, but did not like the way she looked. Mm-hmm. This is Lady Gaga we're talking about. So she just fought for it. You know, she just did her thing, and basically that whole weirdness that she's cultivated, I think, is sort of grew out of that, and that is what connected Lady Gaga to her audience. I've never been a huge Lady Gaga fan.
Yeah, not the on-stage persona.
Music, but her last album was a little more like, not acoustic, but a little more earthy, you know, and I loved it. And the more I see of this trailer and the more I read about it, and apparently she and Bradley Cooper were like this during the production. Just
their
like
chemistry is amazing.
They seem so good together.
And she looks so beautiful with her natural hair color and not all the makeup. She's a completely different person.
When I first saw the trailer, I was like, who is that? And then I realized, oh, that's Lady Gaga. Holy shit. That's Lady Gaga. She wrote 8 songs that are going to be in the soundtrack.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Those songs are stuck in our head and we haven't seen the movie yet.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I am actually, that is my most anticipated movie and of the award season so far. I haven't looked up to see what else
you got goosebumps talking about it.
What else is supposed to be coming out in the next couple of months, but this is the one that I'm really excited to see because I'm just at this point just curious. Is the movie as good as the trailers are going to make it look?
And you and I shit on remakes all the time. But this looks amazing.
I think they use the premise, but the premise, you know, is familiar. But they've done like an updated version.
Technically, every story's been told. You know, fish out of water. This is a Star Is Born story. It kind of rags to riches.
Rags to
I guess,
riches, yeah. Rags to riches, yeah.
So it's not. I I don't even think it's really a remake. I think it's just we're telling the story with an updated.
Yeah,
people.
Dude, I am totally excited for it. Yeah. Totally excited, and the trailers that are out for it, they aren't hyped up trailers that feel like they're telling you the whole story. The trailers really play off like this is the feeling you're going to get from seeing this movie.
And I liked what you said. Because they basically played a couple of scenes, and you said this movie is so good that they don't have to edit it or hype it. They can just here's a scene from the movie.
Yeah,
and it's getting us excited for award season. If we feel like we want to say, "Oh, this is going to win awards," we've just seen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I'm feeling about it, and I believe I know that that's part of the hype they want us to feel by showing it, but there's something that feels really true in the trailers that I hope the movie carries forward, like in reality. Bradley Cooper has directed it. It's his first directorial. It's his directorial debut. And he wanted Lady Gaga. He wanted her, and the first thing he did is she went down to meet him for the... to talk to him about the part, and he told her to take her makeup off. Take your makeup off. We want and then so from there, like she has a music theater degree. She went to school for that. She's like a theater nerd who ended up like a pop star. So, so it's not like she hasn't acted before, and she actually won the Golden Globe for American Horror Story a couple years ago. Yeah. But she still had to go through an audition process, and they actually, Warner Brothers, who's the company that made the movie, the studio that made the movie, actually paid for a full-fledged screen test with cameras and lighting and other actors and stuff to act with her. And they said once they saw her on screen, it just in a few seconds they were like, she's got the part.
I mean, that's how it is watching the trailer. You just know it's good.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. What we're probably going to see this coming week is Predator.
Oh, man.
Which...
I'm excited to see it. I love Predator.
I know you do. I don't. So, and it's not that I don't... Here's my thing. We're going to spend the next few minutes talking about this, because we talked about this in the car. My problem is these franchises that will not go away. So we've got a new Halloween movie coming out that they've actually run out of titles for, so they're just calling it Halloween again.
And really,
it's not a reboot; it's a continuation of the Halloween story, but they're just calling it Halloween.
Yeah,
Halloween again.
It's what is it? What's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
It does.
She was in the original.
Yeah.
And then they had an updated one, H2O. Yeah. And this seems like the conclusion to her storyline in the series. Yeah. But they're just calling it Halloween, which is the name of the first one.
Yeah.
What?
Like, how are you gonna?
That's confusing when you go to rent it. What if you end up with the old Halloween? This is dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, you're renting Halloween, you think you're watching the new one, you're like, why does this movie look so old and crappy? Because you're watching the $1 million version of the movie. That I think I made it for like $700,000 back in the day. Anyway, it's not that the movie looks bad, it's just that the franchise won't stop. They just keep redoing it. And Predator is another one of those. I think I saw Predator, and then I think I saw Predator 2 back when I was a teenager when the movies came out. Good. And then there was... I lost track of how many other Predator movies they made. And the thing is, they don't ever get any better.
What are you talking about? Okay, now, if you're talking about Aliens versus Predator movies, those are not any better. But
those are Predator movies.
The movie called The Predators, where they had all the baddest of humankind on some kind of planet where they hunted them. Did you not see The Predator? It had Morpheus, man. Lawrence Fishburne, and a whole bunch of top-notch actors. I think even Machete was in it.
Machete.
Whatever his name is. Machete.
Why am I drawing blank on his name? Keep talking, I'll look him up.
I don't.
It's called The Predators?
Right.
The Predators.
The Predators. And the woman who stars in Queen of the South, Adrian Brody, Topher Grace, which I very much enjoyed when he ate it.
You're talking about Danny Trejo, by the way.
Danny Trejo, yeah. It was very enjoyable seeing Topher Grace get what he deserved for ruining Venom. You motherfucker.
So you're saying that
Predators was great.
Predator came out, and then Predator 2 came out.
Yes.
And then there was a whole bunch of shitty movies, and then suddenly there's a good one.
2 Aliens versus Predators. And now they're doing... and there was The Predators, which was great. And now this one, I don't know, the new one.
Hold on. Do you mean it was great compared to the first two, or great because you were expecting it to be shitty, but it was better than you expected?
It's a great sequel. Like, I definitely consider it to be like Predator 3. It is really good. A different take on it. You haven't seen it, so you can't really say it's not.
I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm
right.
just... I am poo-pooing the idea of never-ending franchises that don't go away because they just don't get better. Like Freddy Krueger. Again, we are in territory.
Yes.
That for me, I have not seen any of the Freddy Krueger movies, but what I know about them is that the first one was good. People liked it.
Yeah.
Then they made another one. It was a little campier, and then they went downhill from there, and they just never stopped.
You are correct that 90% of these franchise movies, they just get worse and worse because the original people who wrote and direct the good ones are done by number 2. Yeah. And they just end up selling off the license for other shittier people.
Yeah, they make money every time somebody makes one, but they don't have to make it.
Now, Aliens, definitely 1 and 2. Only one's worth watching.
I've seen those.
All the other Alien movies, even the new ones that are trying to tell you about the origins,
those aren't good.
It's just worse and worse.
And they're not. So the Prometheus and Prometheus 2.
I hate them so much.
But they aren't as bad as Alien 3 and 4.
Alien 3 is the worst out of all of them. But it is the worst because it betrayed every great thing that happened in the number 2.
Prometheus 1 and 2 are back to well-made movies that aren't just dumb. Right. However, but they're not good.
And they're stupid,
but they
completely
just
illogical.
Keep making them. It's like, sorry. Remember today when we were talking to somebody and he said, Bad Boys 3 and 4 are already in the works. And I'm thinking, 3 and 4, they're making, first of all, the second one wasn't any good. And they're making 3.
They already agreed to 4.
I have to look this up because I have not confirmed this. But if they're making a Bad Boys 3 and 4, that idea proves to you that they just make movies and they don't care if we like them or not. They're going to throw a whole bunch of movie, and then they have a certain level of budget they're willing to spend on a movie that they know people will go see, whether it's good or not. And then it's just put all on our thing.
Here's the thing, man. Martin Lawrence was okay in the 90s and maybe the early 2000s, but he's not worth bringing back, man. Will Smith is just awesome.
Yeah. But Martin Lawrence is hilarious, and those two, I rewatched Bad Boys recently, and it's definitely a product of the 90s.
Yeah.
It's definitely still very entertaining, but not the great movie I remembered it being from the 90s.
It's just going to be 2 old guys. He's basically going to be saying, I'm too old for this shit. But
Will Smith. Yeah. Will Smith is our age, but he looks 20 years younger than us. Yeah. Will Smith was maybe just a few years older than us when he struck it, big.
So Predators has done a good job of not ruining the franchise. But yes, all the other franchise movies are shitting on the franchise.
Even Harry Potter. Okay, so when I saw Harry Potter, first I was worried that it was not that they weren't going to be able to sustain.
By the way, these are potential fighting words because it is a mad fan base.
No, I love Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I loved all the movies. My favorite is Prisoner of Azkaban, but that's just because I like that story. Anyway, all 7 of those, when those all came out, I was like, look at this. They made 7 great movies that told great stories from beginning to end. They remained consistent. They didn't have... There's only one instance where they lost an actor, but it was because Richard Harris, the original Dumbledore, died after the second movie, so they had to recast. But then when they brought out the Fantastic Beasts, they're okay, but they are nowhere near the Harry Potter canon quality.
Right.
Like, there's no, like, real, like, Snape, Dumbledore, what's his name? He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Right.
What's his name? Voldemort. There's no Voldemort, you know, and they're fun movies. It's fun and they're inventive. However, I feel like the movie is just being made because Harry Potter is billions of dollars in box office, and they know it'll make money. I will go see it because I love seeing the magic, like the magic and all that stuff. I'm not even really complaining about it, but there's nothing as good as any of the 7 Harry Potter movies.
Yes.
Or 8, because they split the last one in 2 parts.
What I'd like to see in the future is people making movies within the worlds that are created, as opposed to sequels that are continuations of the story of the people that you've already seen. Just tell different stories in the same worlds, those movie worlds, but stop rehashing. You know, let's leave Luke Skywalker and all those people. Tell new stories about Star Wars and the Force, because speaking of franchise fatigue, where it's a big mess now because fans don't even know what they want anymore, because, you know, we love what has been. Leave it. Tell us new stuff.
I'm excited for the 9th installment of Star Wars. I am one of, and you too.
I am
one of the people that loved The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
I loved where it went because I felt like the dark, confused hero of Luke Skywalker was very believable.
It is so.
If somebody who was just trying to do the right thing messed up, that could throw you off on a thing. And he's closed off to the Force and all that stuff. I believe that.
And Yoda telling him that that is the burden of masters is to teach their students through their own failures.
Yeah. And the burden of masters that your student will surpass you.
Yeah.
And that's true with our mentor. We surpassed. And nobody even knows that that's us making fun of him. Of course, we love him, but still.
Yes.
But I'm glad that they're not going to Luke Skywalker us to death.
Right.
In a 10th and 11th and 12th. Like, yes. I'm glad that they're going to keep doing Star Wars movies. I'm curious to see what else. But there's more than, like, 3 or 4 other people in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
There's, like, a whole, like, universe of stories that can be told. And I hope Rian Johnson's trilogy that he's making knocks it out of the park. Because I'd love to prove that, look, you can tell something inside this world that's reminiscent of the thing without rehashing the stories again. And in fact, that is what Fantastic Beasts is doing. It's telling another story inside the world. It just, The
interesting thing about your sequel fatigue, as I'm thinking about it, is even George Lucas fell into the trap of ruining his own franchise.
Yeah.
Because he was redoing the movies, adding stuff, but also Jar Jar, man. Jar Jar and little Anakin ruined Star Wars, man. Just shat all over it. I mean, but we got Darth Maul, too, which was kick-ass and amazing. But
since we do a movie review show, do you want to know do you remember what my first movie review I ever wrote in a newspaper was?
No.
Phantom Menace.
Really?
And I shat all over that movie. I came out and I think I pissed some of my friends off. Our friend Bremer, who he read it and goes, "Man, you were kind of harsh on George Lucas." I'm like, I said in the article, I said, I don't know, maybe George Lucas is rusty. He hasn't directed anything in 20 years, but his idea of what the prequels should be just didn't hit a sweet spot. It just didn't land properly, And, I love George Lucas. I think the guy is brilliant. I really do. He might be too smart for a general audience.
And and that gets back to the sequel fatigue. Why are prequels a thing, man? Tell a different story in the movie universe. Quit. We don't got to go to the beginning before And The Nun might be good, but that's another. This is a franchise horror movie thing. We got to go back to the prequel to see how The Nun got created and whatever. Oh God, come on.
What did we like so much about Hereditary? Said it was something we hadn't seen before.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a new concepts, new things.
I have a problem with prequels because if there's anything perilous in it, everybody's going to be okay because they're already in the sequel to that prequel from 5 years ago, and nobody's going to die, and so the stakes are automatically lower. No matter how high you raise the stakes, it's low because.
Or you can pull an Alien 3 and just kill everyone.
Well, that was a sequel.
And then pull a 4 and clone a mutated, angry bitch version of your hero character that's part alien.
I do not think I saw Alien 4.
It was better than 3, but... Yeah,
and I think... which one is the one with Winona Ryder in it?
4.
Okay, then I saw
it. She made it good. Yeah. I just want to throw in there real quick. I just have to. Since when Aliens 1 and 2, there were reasons that the aliens were doing their things, but from 3 and then on, they're just murderers. They're psychopathic murderers. They don't kill to eat. They don't kill. Yeah. I mean, 1 out of 10 people that die might end up impregnated with a thing, but they're just murderers.
Yeah, that's because they figured out that the general movie-going audience doesn't really care. They just want to see aliens.
There's got to be a reason.
There's got to be a reason. Yeah.
Because if you're hungry, then you fight, you kill, and you eat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to avoid conflict. You're not going to go out and just kill everyone you can, and then hunt down the ones that got away. Anyway, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
unless you're a predator, and then you kill for sport. So
right. Well, that's what Predator's doing. It's a completely different thing. So I'm going to go. So what you're telling me is, do I need to see Predator? What the Predators? Before we go see this movie?
You don't need. It's its own thing, but it is good. It is a very good movie.
So, because you know how I am about it, I don't like to see out of order.
Oh, it has nothing to do.
So, Predator and The Predators are not related.
No.
Then what the?
I think what is related is the Arnold one. I think they might reference it. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. There's a guy that explains everything in a trailer. They're gonna explain everything in the movie.
Okay. Predator is written and directed by Shane Black,
and it has Keenan. Is it Michael Key? Keegan Michael Key?
Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's written and directed by Shane Black, who did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He did Iron Man 3, which I thought was great.
One of the best Iron Man.
One of the best out of all three.
Yeah.
And he also did. I think he wrote Last Boy Scout back in the 80s. Like he's the guy. He's the guy that wrote the original Lethal Weapon.
I liked Last Boy Scout. Lethal Weapon was great.
Yeah. So he's a smart writer, and he's been making good movies. So maybe it'll be good. He did, however, get in trouble this week. I don't know if you heard this part. Okay, so he has a friend of his.
Okay, go ahead.
He has a friend of his that he cast. It's like, if I was making a movie, I would maybe put you in the movie because you're in all my movies, sort of thing. Except it turns out that his friend had a record of I think he got in trouble for something with a 14 or a 16-year-old, something like that. So he's got a sexual predator record. And Shane Black knew and cast him in the movie anyway. He's been in all his movies. But when they found out about it, Olivia Munn, who was in Predator, she complained about it after the fact because she found out after the scenes, and they went back and cut this guy out of the movie. But Shane Black is sort of being yelled at because you knew, why did you cast him in the thing? And he's like, he's a friend of mine. Like, the guy needs a break, you know? So
I
I
guess I have no comment, because if I say something, it'll offend someone.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a precarious position. Like if you, Brad, you're my friend. I've known you for 25 long years. Are you going to cut me
out of really pathetic and totally awkward?
If you've boffed a 16-year-old, yes.
I'm like the best part of the movie. You're going to cut me out. Okay.
Well, don't put me in that position is all I'm saying.
No more cheese squares.
In a couple months, the handful of people that listen to this show will know what we're talking about. No, but if you if you and I were friends, and I put you in my movie, and I knew that you hypothetically, if we were friends, and I put you in a movie, even though I knew your record, I understand where Shane Black is at, like the position that he's in. You just want to help your friend out. Your friend, whatever, he wasn't exactly guilty, blah, blah, blah.
Maybe you understand more about the story than everyone else.
You're more sympathetic to your friend.
But you also know if people heard it, they would take it the wrong way and not care about what really happened.
So you buried that part of it.
Yeah.
So I get what he was trying to do. It might have been a shitty thing and all that stuff, but they cut him out of the movie. So they cut the guy out of the movie.
Was he just in the background? I mean,
there's a scene between him and someone else. I can't remember. I think he. I don't even know it because you know how I don't like to read about things. Before I see them.
The movie. Yeah. It'd be funny if they pulled a Bruce lie and like put his face or someone else's face over it. They
just cut him out. They just cut him out. So it's weird.
You know what I mean? In Bruce Lee, he died, so they got in the making of Game and Death. So they got a stunt person that a lookalike sort of to try and finish the movie, and then they ended up putting a picture of Bruce Lee's face over the actor. You can clearly see it's a little picture floating on the head.
What the hell? What year was this?
Yeah, back in the
70s, right? He died on set, yeah.
They tried to salvage the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They could do that these days.
Oh, right. You can just digitize the whole person.
The technology is incredible.
Yeah.
But okay, well that's it for this week. We'll be back next week. So if you have the patience for a slightly slower, more quieter science fiction movie, it subverts the science fiction genre is what it does. It subverts it because it's not really about the sci-fi.
Is it in 80s movies because it had sort of a strange Stranger Things sound?
Yeah.
They had flip phones.
No.
But
two of the characters had flip phones, and one of the characters had a touch screen, iPhone.
Some of the reviews I saw, they were complaining about the 80s feel and saying that, and it has bad 80s, 90s dialogue. But
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I didn't feel that way.
Just know that you're going to see a road trip movie when you see Ken, and I think you can enjoy it.
Yeah. That's it. Look, guys, we'd love to hear what you have to say about these movies. If you saw Ken, or if you saw The Nun and want to tell us how to be, or if you saw Peppermint and totally disagree with us that it stunk, tell us how you feel about the Predator movie coming out, the franchise fatigue, anything. Just contact us at Movieisms at gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram. I'm Becca Meyer.
I'm balding Ewok.
Yeah.
I'm going to put some more pictures up of me, like old school shit.
Yeah, don't do that. Nobody wants to see that.
Okay.
No, but
I love you too, man.
Hit us. Don't say that. That's weird. Now you're making it awkward right here at the end of the show. This is the last thing they're going to hear for a whole week. And it was, you go, hang on here too, man.
Will you be my friend, Monica?
No. And I will not put you in my movie, you pervert. So, we'll see you next week with our review of Predator. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies.
The end.
Movieisms is a production of Super Mega Ultra Entertainment and is produced by Michael Beckemeyer and Bradley Kingston. If you'd like to find out more, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And make sure you click like on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/movieisms. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment and give us a 5-star review in iTunes. It only takes a minute and it helps us out more than you can imagine. Thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see you at the movies.